Oh, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways, where Laf and I are going to bring you up to date and up to speed with everything that's happening around the country and around the globe. But we have a very important insert in your call with Michel Narak, the CEO of Gold Circle. You did the interview with him. It's very fascinating, isn't it?
Absolutely. He's keeping everyone abreast of what's going on in Gold Circle country with regard to quite a few aspects with the Sunfeld Training Centre, the race day, the big racing experience, and everything that's been going on. So good news, well worth watching, Michelle. He answers a lot of questions that I had.
Well, there you go. We're going to see what that's all about, and we're now going to go and have a look at our 3 to follow, sponsored by Bloodstock South Africa, and we'll tell you a bit about the gallops. There have been some gallops going on at Summerhill last week. Well, there's a lot of excitement with the ready-to-run gallops, and Summerhill was the place to be on Friday afternoon.
Friday, again, Mickey's raised the bar. You know, we've got the Balmorals coming up this Friday. They've got 60 horses to get up. There's been some in Gauteng. A lot of interest. The concept's very, very good. What I liked about this week is that he brought over another international visitor in Simon Vivian from English, an auctioneer, a very, very nice man and a knowledgeable horseman. He had a very good panel, and he had them all over for Thursday night.
Interesting that you were the MC, and I hear that a few people, got a little bit of the sharp end of the tongue.
Well, that's part and parcel of the game. There's no...
you can't get away with it.
There's no party without punch.
Yeah.
Sheesh, you got to have a go. But I'd like to see anywhere else in the world where you get a bunch of horses gallop, and you get a panel like that, as Mickey likes to say, such an august group of people to discuss the horse. Imagine going overseas and watching Sir Michael Stout and Mick Shannon and Aidan O'Brien talking about the horses that have just got. We're very, very fortunate here.
It's absolutely an unbelievable setting, and the gallops are really a part of the ready-to-run sale. And as you say, this Friday at Yellow Star Stud, Balmoral will be galloping their big draft. They've got about 60 horses there, and various others from Yellow Star and a couple of other studs as well, because it's just got too big for Summerhill. And wonderful to see Koos de Klerk come to the party, and we'll have just as good a time there on Friday. So don't miss that. And if you do miss the gallops, you can always get it on DVD. And
we should maybe try and get Koos de Klerk in one of these days. He's a director of Gold Circle. He's a breeder. He's a passionate racing man. Very good point there, James.
And he had a nice winner on Sunday.
Had a wonderful winner. Yeah, good luck.
Nice
good luck to him.
Have
nice
a winner
to see.
as well. So we're going to move on and go and have a look at 3 horses we found to follow. Let's get into it. First one is Fort Bellini. This was at Clearwood on Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday the 9th. And James, this is a horse that I thought the runner-up would be a very hard horse to beat. A very quick horse who's gone all salesman from the Charlie Laird stable with Arthur Marcus, sets a pace. But the eventual winner is up there with it, James, next to it.
Well, he's showing the pace here, but Salesman just quickens up well away from him, and it looks like Fort Bellini's got no chance. But this is the mark of a good horse, a horse that can dig down and get to a horse that's bowling along in front. Obviously, it's had 3 runs, it's got the blinkers on it. Here, Salesman goes for home, and it looks like no race. There's horses behind with a stick on them, they're having a full go. So Mongo Kamalo, cool as a cucumber, sits behind Salesman.
Yeah, correct, James. As Aware comes up, Fort Bellini, I think the penny drops when Aware runs up alongside him for 2nd place. And watch how green he is. He's only a length and a half wider. Look how wide he goes now. He just really is a very, very nice horse.
I think this is a cracking good horse. I think this could be a really, really top horse. To see the way he put his head down and beat one of Charlie Laird's horses that are absolutely fit as can be on the post. Oh, I like this horse a lot. I'm so impressed with him. I liked him in the parade in the canter down. Sean came down to have a look at them, and I said to him after this horse cantered down, this is a top horse.
Yeah, a wonderful pedigree, by Fort Wood, out of an El Mufti mare. Ascot stud bred it, so well done to Ascot. This is a very, very nice horse.
It's an old Ascot family.
Yes. The Welsh Pagans, the mother.
Welsh Pagan.
Yeah.
Anyway, we move on to the next one. Now, this was really impressive. This was completely the opposite to Sean's horse, although the word was out from the stable that this horse wasn't properly tuned up. And Molly kept on going on what a big belly he's got. Well, Molly hasn't had a look
Talking about
down.
himself, was
Yeah, I think that's what he was talking about. But, you know, sort of, and there seemed to be support for this horse and plenty of it. But he looked properly tuned up to me. Watch this win. Shadow of His Smile.
Yeah, this is Arthur Marcus in those famous silks. Slightly slow out of the gate, and he gets it in behind. They're going quickly here in the 1,200 metres at Turpentine. And he settles in about 5th or 6th, and he's travelling very, very nicely with Arthur Marcus. Shadow of His Smile. He's by Western Winter out of a Fort Wood mare called Shadow Dancing.
I like the run of the second horse as well. He's got a big white face. He's called Wata Boyki. He's sitting up third. Nicely named, Peter White's horse.
Yeah.
And he ran a good race, but he was completely outclassed by this horse.
This is a very classy horse. And Western Winter, a sad loss, because we've seen the Cape Town Noirs, we've seen champions. Every year there's Group 1 horses coming out.
Red Ray in the Cape at the moment.
Very good horse. I spoke to Joey Ramsden about Red Ray. He's very pleased with him. But look at this horse. As Arthur says, let's go through the gap and see what this unraced horse has got in hand. And this was impressive, James.
He just absolutely cantered away from them. And the further he went, the further he put between himself and the rest. Anton gave him a smack. What for? But
just to keep his mind on
just
the
keep
job.
his mind on it. Well, he kept his mind on it already. Just quickened away from the rest of them like they were in lead blocks.
Yeah, 9 1/4 lengths, and another big horse for the Eustis. Well done to them. The rest were really running in quicksand in the last furlong against this horse. Shadow of His Smile. Remember the name, by Western Winter. A very, very good horse.
Yeah, we're going to move on to Scottsville, and the first race back at Scottsville, the track was in magnificent condition. You've got to give it to the track manager there.
He does a great job. He does a great job.
Good job.
And we've had a lot of sun, and it's been beating down, and he's kept it very green, and no complaints for the riders is always a good sign.
Right, we go to the first race, which was 1,200 metres, and the right stepped out a filly called Polychromatic. There was no confidence from the stable at all. In fact, Alison said to me she wasn't sure that they were even going to run it. She said it's shown nothing at home, but absolutely nothing. And it shows you what happens. I remember Spook Express.
Yeah.
Mike Lecoq was sending it to Bloemfontein, and it won just and ended up being a multiple group.
We've seen it time and time again where horses come through and do it. I remember there was a horse that Michael Lecoq had as well for Mary Slack, and this has got to go to PE, this has got to go. It ran in the July, kept one more win, it ran in the July, and that's what happens with racing. You never know. But have a look at this horse, Polychromatic, slow out in the John Jones silks for Alison and Kevin Wright.
There it is, drawn 2, and you'll see they spring the gates, and she just falls out the pens.
Yeah.
She's at the back, and Magudwa and Atandiwa Magudwa just tucks her in, leaves her alone. The pace is all up in the front. This is the race, actually, the Course de Klerk one.
Yeah, he won it with the horse Kilcane. The horse that I thought would win was African Dream, who had found support. African Dream's got the noseband leading with Arthur Marcus and does everything but win. But the horse who beats it is up second in the black blinkers, Cayenne. But have a look at Polychromatic. It's got the purple cap, probably about 9th or 10th, about 4 lengths off them now.
Yeah,
no room to go.
Just following them through, and looks like it's got nowhere to go, and it's not going to go anywhere anyway. It's getting a little scrub along. Marcus says, "Hey ho, Silver," and is on his bicycle.
No run for this horse.
And I think that Polychromatic now gets a run and comes through them and runs a very good third. Yeah, she's still all over the place. Doesn't know what's going on, but really runs a good race.
Yeah, I can see that, James. Just you can see in the last few jumps that she's eating up the turf. And remember the name, Polychromatic, and nice run by an Australian horse just off them there on the outside on the worst ground. Keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
But this horse is bred by Fastfontein, so by Black Manalouche, and out of a Royal Chalice mare, Princess Polly. So keep an eye on all 3 of those 3 to follow. They will look like they'll win and win again soon.
In fact, some very nice horses there. I think that we've got a pick this week, and sometimes you find it a bit thin, but this week looks like I think Fort Bellini might end up top of the class, and Shadow of His Smile certainly right up there with them. Let's go and have a look at Blast from the Past. We'll come back after this ad, I think. Let's go and see what's going on. Okay, well, the 3 million rand ready to run cup. Let's just carry on with that a little, left, because it really is a huge stake. And it's like buying a lotto ticket with 200 tickets.
Yeah, that's
You know,
right.
there's actually 200 tickets in the lottery here to win 3 million rand. Only those horses can win the stake.
There's some
check.
beautifully bred horses, James. People
They've
mustn't
got-
forget, you get the likes of Igugu coming off the sale, you know, Pierre Jourdan, some very, very good horses come off the sale. They can win anywhere around the country, in Group 1s, whatever. And I feel this year the catalogue's as deep as ever.
I think the guys are stepping up to the plate and trying to win this race. You know,
Yeah.
the thing is that you can sell a horse for 2 million and you can win 2 million rand stake back with it. Where most horses you sell for 2 million, you know what you're going to be racing for?
The VAT.
60,000. Not even the VAT. But it's the beginning of next month, ready to run sale. As I say, the DVDs will be available in a couple of weeks' time from Thoroughbred Breeders Association. If you want to go to the gallops at Yellow Star, they're on Friday, starting at 11 o'clock. You can get a good lunch there as well. I'll be there going there for the lunch and to have a look at the gallops, obviously. But let's move on and have a look. Last week we were a bit remiss not to introduce Sir Ivor. We had showed Sir Ivor winning the Guineas, and this week we just show the follow-up of him winning the Derby. Now, he ran in Raymond Guest colours, and what was very interesting about Sir Ivor Laff is that Raymond Guest had a bet to win a fortune on this horse as a yearling or as a weanling, okay, before it even been put into training. He got 100 to 1 that this horse would win the Derby. Well, going through the 300, Pigot's sitting in behind there. He hasn't moved a muscle. And there's some very, very good horses around him. He only
I
pulls his
think
horse.
it was one of these races that Pigot made that famous quote when he travelled so well. And when did you think you were going to win the race, you know? At acceptances. You know?
At acceptances. Well, it's just amazing to watch. In the famous light blue and chocolate hoop colours, Sir Ivor, we'll go and watch it, but take a close look at this horse and watch what a master Pigot is. In the Derby, the biggest race in the world as far as the English are concerned. It's now, as you say, the Investix Derby. And he doesn't move a muscle on this horse. And he produces him absolutely without raising a sweat. Fantastic to watch. Let's go and see Sir Ivor.
Pigot isn't a jockey to whom trainers issue detailed instructions, certainly not before the Derby. At the age of 32, he's about to seek his 4th victory in the race. Raymond Guest, absent on ambassador's duties, knows that his 100 to 1 wager will not be in better hands. A man as experienced and intelligent as O'Brien is content to give Pigot a leg up and let him get on with it. Barclay is a dozen years younger, but he is no novice. Of course, it's not at all certain to be a two-man, two-horse confrontation. Ron Hutchison on Mount Athos intends to be there when the prizes are given out. Had Roman's preparation not been undermined by illness, Joe Mercer would have fancied himself to beat the lot of them. Supporters of Sir Ivor have been suggesting they will take a bomb to stop him from winning, and for a moment it seems that someone has taken them seriously. But the law steps in firmly, and the incident passes unnoticed by the tense figures behind the starting stalls. The Derby, with prize money now averaging around £70,000, is far from being the richest race for 3-year-olds. And many would say the course is far from being the fairest. It rises unevenly by 150 feet in the first 6 furlongs, then swings steeply down and round Tatnall Corner into the straight. The next climb comes suddenly 50 yards from the winning post, just at the point where it does most damage to a tiring horse.
They're on. First rate fired with the last lead floor, and just ahead of it is Royal Rocket. The first to show in the lead, Ben Roy. Ben Roy in the lead at the end of the furlong from Connaught, Society, Lorry, Remand, then Floriana is last at the moment. As they come up towards the mile and a quarter gate, Ben Roy, the clear leader, falling deep clear of Connaught, with a similar distance ahead of Lorry, who's in Duke Thursday, with Forfeit, then Remand, the Poplin is on 80 on, then it comes Ivar, on the inside of Ivar dismounted, and coming towards the 8.5 furlong gate, Ben Roy still the clear leader from Connaught, then comes Lorry, the Poplin, Remand, on the outside of those Society, then it's Mercer, Ivar, and just over 7 furlongs from home with Ben Roy in the lead, only about 2 lengths ahead now, with Connaught in second place, and Lorry third, and Poplin fourth, and Remand fifth.
Running down the hill, and Ben Roy weakening now, and Connaught going to the front, and it's Connaught from Laureate and Society, then comes Torpid, a Topless on the inside, Connaught the leader, as they swing into Tatnam Corner now, it's Connaught from Laureate, then comes Society, then comes the Topless behind, and Topless is Mount Athos, back in 7th or 8th is Saraiva, Remand making a little bit of progress in behind the leaders, but it's Connaught in the lead from Laureate and Society, then comes the Topless, then Remand, then on the rails is Saraiva, and coming to the 2 furlong marker, and it's Connaught and Sandy Bartley in the lead from Society, Remand in the pale colours coming to challenge, and Lester Pickett switching Saraiva out from the rails, but Connaught with a commanding lead. But coming to the furlong marker, Connaught still in the lead, being pressed by Remand, then Society, and Saraiva possibly taking off now. He's burning up the ground as he races up towards Connaught. It's Connaught from Saraiva, but Saraiva cutting him down, then coming to the line. Saraiva's caught him. Saraiva's the winner. Connaught is second. Mount Athos there.
Breathtaking.
Yeah, it was pity the commentator was on a hill in Wales, but it
And
was,
the filming's not great, is it?
neither the grass, but things have really modernised, but you don't get many modern jockeys as good as Lester Piggott.
Well, when you see a horse like Connaught go clear, as you know, so alluded to before we started and watched it, and then you just see him just pull this horse out in hands and heels. He just, this is a machine.
Absolute machine. What a great rider, and wonderful to see the old champion Saraiva was some racehorse.
Some racehorse. Next week we'll have something else for you. Let's take a break.
I saw Johnny Stark at rugby.
As they come to the 300, look left. Here comes Kings Bay, about to be popped the question. Coffee shakes down the centre. Kings Bay, Ian Sturgeon says, let's go and put this to bed. Guantanamera is running on, but Kings Bay with a sweeping run. Another scintillating victory, and this is the real deal. Kings Bay equal to the task, gear down. Hard Rock second, then came sports coach Guantanamera, and Living with Heart, Kings Bay.
Well, why there's the plum is because this is such a good horse. This really is a good horse. Doug Campbell's done a wonderful job with this horse. He bred him himself, and
him and I think Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Really,
They're at Sugar Hill. I think they've
Sugar Hill and Bruce,
fall down on his farm. And
that's right. James, this horse could win the Guineas. He's got the
will
acceleration
he
of a good
the
horse.
trip?
Why not?
Well, that's
Why not? His dad would.
That's the key. Will he get the trip?
He settles, James. He sits him behind. He quickens out. He's beating hard-hitting good horses.
Well, he went off at 13-5, 5-2 with Interbet, which is a phenomenal price about a horse that's this good. And as Johnny says, in buckets, He could have got the 13 to 5. It was just a really, really scintillating. When he looked like the pick on the card, on a very difficult card. And when you see a horse win like that, he was like Piggott.
He was like Piggott.
Ian Sturgeon.
Yeah.
Piggott, we could call him.
Lester Sturgeon
Lester
didn't
Sturgeon,
move on him. You know,
yeah.
it was a fantastic ride and a fantastic win. Well done to Doug and his clients. This is a very good horse.
Yeah, and certainly the plum of the week as far as Interbet was concerned. Let's move on. We're going to go and have a look at what we've got in current affairs. Some very interesting stuff.
Right, welcome to Current Affairs. And no group racing around the country. We're building up for our different seasons. Cape Town, Johannesburg, all getting rolling. And we had some very good racing internationally, some Group 1s with young horses, which could turn out to be future champions. They call it the Future Champions Race Day, I think. That's the Newmarket, the name of the race day. But other things have been happening around the world, James.
Well, the big news last week was Tattersalls. You know, they had the big Tattersall sales, and we've seen records being broken everywhere around the world. Keeneland, there were records broken, but they broke the records at Tattersalls. There was a filly went for over 5 million guineas.
It's still 1.1 pound.
Yeah, 1.1 to the
10%
pound.
more than the pound,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
5 million guineas.
yeah, the
Wow.
record was broken on the Tuesday. 3.6 million guineas was the record. I think the record previously was 3.2, and
Who was it by? Do you know?
they were Galileos, the
Oh, yeah,
whole
yeah.
bang shooting. In fact, this filly was a full sister to Was, and I think
Was a full sister to was.
is a full sister to Was. Okay, don't try and make it difficult for me. You know, it's difficult enough working with you.
Go Jumbo.
But
Go
they,
Jumbo.
you know, honestly, this is what I've got to put up with. But it is a full sister to Was. Okay, Was won the Oaks for the O'Brien bunch, and this
Who
filly,
bought it, James? Do you know?
They bought. Did they buy it or the Qatarians?
They're getting to be very big.
Maybe it was the Qatarians that bought it. I'm not sure. Anyway, just looking at the vendors roll, up in the top 10 on the vendors roll, Form Bloodstock.
Oh, Herbert Mulholland.
Yeah, they bought a Galileo for 600,000 guineas, and she's out of a mare called Bridget. So maybe
Wonder if it might be for Bridget's daughter.
maybe for Bridget's daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, it
But
could-
Bridget has produced multiple Group 1 horses. I think they bought 6.
that's good going.
on
Do we-
this.
any idea where they're going to race? I know he's building his English setup.
I think Mike's building the English setup. I think that a lot of these horses are going to stay there. I think the horses that take a bit of time and maybe not as valuable will come back here. But the problem is, as Mike was telling me the other day, the biggest problem that we have is the import-export, as we know. But import has become just as big a problem as export, because you've got to get them into this country, and there's got to be space in the quarantine
James,
station.
you
and
can't
that's
believe it. You know, James, I am
You
the
guys
agent.
have just been
I'm the
through it.
agent for Magic Millions.
Yeah.
And we bring horses in, and I'm working with RT, with Magic Millions, with the people in South Africa. It's an absolute nightmare, and it gets worse and worse. And we have, I went and spoke to Mickey Goss about it. He used to be on the council. I said, he'd spoken to Peter about it, because he imports horses all the time to Mickey. Mark de Kock says it's a nightmare. When Mark gets back, we've got to get him on the show. We've got to get this sorted out. How can the importation of horses be so difficult? Horses are coming in and suddenly they take a blood and they've got a problem. They were supposed to be in quarantine in the other countries.
Well, that's the whole point.
The whole point is something slipping up, and it's costing us the cost for our owners, the length of time. You buy a yearling, and you want to have them as a 2-year-old to get rolling. You only get them at your yard in the new year at this rate.
Well, you see, the problem is that there are all these sales going on all over the world. They're absolutely flying. It's like a fireworks display what's going on, the amount of money people are spending on horses. All the prices are up. All the averages are up. All the medians are up. Everything is up. You're getting people like the Chinese. The Chinese arrived at Tattersalls and bought a whole lot of horses, but they're not buying 150,000 guinea horses, which you'd think they'd be buying for their type of racing. They're buying 500,000-600,000 guinea horses
For their
In fact,
racing.
For their racing.
James, that begs the question of, get our export protocols, get all our protocols in order, but our breeders, imagine our breeders were given $30,000, $40,000 a horse. You know, it'll help
40,000.
them.
Well, we
You'll
could
get them,
sell.
and that's not expensive for the Chinese.
Well, the Chinese, apparently, I know in the East, in years gone by, if a horse won a time trial, a barrier trial in Australia or New Zealand, you got 50,000 Australia or New Zealand for it. If it won a barrier trial, it hasn't even won a race.
That's right. So imagine we had barrier trials here, our breeders put them up. Imagine they had
No, you win a maiden here and you can sell a horse for $50,000.
$500,000 rand. It's got to be, we've got to sort out these protocols. It's killing everybody. But James, just staying with Tattersall's
Peter,
for a moment.
just on that, Peter said that he had come back on our show after May. You remember May was meant to be the big watershed and whatever, and we haven't seen him. Have you?
No, we've got to get Peter back on to let us know what's going on with the protocols. As I say, I sat with Mickey. I'm up to here with all these going-ons, and I know that Mickey had tasked Peter to push it further. I spoke to Dean Cannemeyer. Dean Cannemeyer trains for someone from the American Embassy, and they're willing to get things in place. Why are we banging our heads still, James? I haven't the answers.
Nor do I. I think that it might be a huge problem with Alan Guthrie. I think that, and I'll say it straight out, I think that there was a problem because Alan Guthrie said, Professor Guthrie from Honest Report, who runs the protocols and makes sure everything is in place and advises the international community on what our problems are, maybe not advising them the way
well, James, to be fair to him, we should have him on our show.
Well, I'd love to have him on our show.
I'd love him if he does get to him. We'd willingly put him on our show. We can't keep going on like this, James. From people like Mrs. Oppenheimer down to the Eusters, the Ruperts, fantastically wealthy people who love the industry. You know, is there any way they can all get together and then do something? I know Michael tried the Zuma route. Yeah. That came to nothing. I know Hassan Adams has been trying to get it sorted out. It's an absolute joke getting a horse in or out this country.
Well, especially when you consider that what we're arguing and bickering about and what the big problem is certainly notifiable or noticeable within 7 to 10 days of beginning of incubation. You know, it's not 6 months that it takes to incubate. It takes 7 to 10 days.
The PCR test now.
Well, you know, that's 24 hours.
24 hours. You know exactly what's going on. It's not as if we're shipping horses out the country. And the killer is there are a lot of horses that get shipped out, James. Endurance, polo. People buy horses.
The endurance horse has come to a complete halt.
Has it?
Because of the onerous protocols. The endurance horse export has come to a halt. In fact, the UAE countries that took our horses have said no more. They've had enough of it. You
know, I think Bev Parker, is it Bernie van der Merwe? They're people that are involved with this on nearly a daily basis. Wonder if they haven't got ideas for us. I know they're pushing hard. Where's the stumbling block?
Well, the trouble is all those people do other jobs. And I don't know that they can give 100% of their time to this. The people who give 100% of their time to this are Peter Gibson and Alan Guthrie. Yeah. Those are the two people who you would expect, certainly with the amount of money that is being funneled off the racing industry to get these protocols right, would be able to get them right. And, you know, we must have discussed this 10 times in the last year, ad nauseum, as they say. That's a good word, because it does make me nauseous.
James, you know, get your protocols in place. You get a top. I'll just use you an example, or myself, or any one of a slew of trainers who get a top horse. Today's situation, you get a top horse, you hopefully can try and get one of the big guns to buy it. Why haven't we got protocols that you can take it? Michael de Kock's opened these doors up in Newmarket. You can take it, and it races for you. Your name goes out there.
Well, that's what Mike would like to do.
That's what Mike would like to do. He'll work in tandem. But you know, we can't get them out there.
No. It's a nightmare. It's now 6 months to get a horse out here. You'd think that it would be 6 weeks.
Yeah.
After all the effort that's been put in and the time that's been it looks like it's just been wasted.
Well, I'm going to push it as hard as I can. As I said, I've spoken to Mickey. I want to get Peter back on the show. I want to speak to all these people who are involved and say we've got to do something.
Well, it's vitally important as far as your guys are concerned, because Magic Million sells a lot of good horses to this country. If you look at the horses that are running around at the moment that come off the Magic Million sale.
James, they gave us just this season 2 Group 1 winners. Yeah. Just 2. Wiley Hall and Willow Magic. Yeah. 2 Group 1 winners that come out. You know, they got 3% of the horses coming in, 90% the stake results. We need their horse. We need their bloodstock to go to stud here. Their fillies.
Absolutely. No doubt.
We've got Give Me the Green Light at stud. He came off that sale. But the problem is, James, I hope people out there are listening. Give us the answers. Tell us who to go to. Let's bang on doors, James. Enough is enough now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, getting back to Tattersalls, it was a raging success. As I say, records broken everywhere. And there just seems, you've got the American government closing down. They've been closed down for 12 days, apparently. But people are spending a fortune on racehorses. And racing, when it gets into your blood, it is the most exciting thing that you can really get involved in.
Yeah.
People, new guys. I saw guys yesterday, they won the last race for Wendy Whitehead.
Yeah.
First, a lot of guys who've been around for a long time in this business, but that was excitement.
That was great. She told them it'll run well,
Yeah.
and the jockey said it'll run well, and well done to him. That, as you said, that's what we need. Just stay with Michael de Kock. Shay has gone back to Dubai.
Oh, has he?
Yes. I wanted to ask him, Mark, where Michael? He said, no, back to Dubai. That's what his whole mission's going to be back there. So for those of you wondering why he didn't run an ARC day, Mark sent him off to Dubai and get him ready from there. How strong were the Godolphin boys at the sale?
They were strong.
And
They
the
buy.
Irish?
The Irish were hugely influential. John Ferguson bought the buys for the Godolphin team.
Qatar.
And then Angus Gold, for the Hamdan. And then there's the Qatarian is the guy who's
David Redvers does a lot for them.
Joanne, Sheikh Joanne, I think his name is. He's
And his husband's name?
Sheikh Jawad. Anyway, he's a big buyer, but he won the Arc de Triomphe with Trev.
Okay, did he?
Someone called it Trev.
Yeah, Trev, the unbeaten filly.
Trevor, yeah.
Yeah, with Trevor.
Yeah, and he's just gone into this market in huge. They call themselves Shadak or some. They got some name that they buy under. And you see they're right up there with the big guys buying. But now's the time of the year when you get the Arc de Triomphe over. Everyone's now aiming their big 2-year-olds for the Dewhurst, the Middle Park Stakes. Those are the two races that we saw. And then there's a Breeders' Cup at the end of the month, which is starting to gather momentum.
Yeah.
And that's at Gulfstream this year. And that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, James, as you say, there were the two-year-olds, the Middle Park and the Dubai Dewhurst, and they're very, very interesting races. The first one we're going to show you is the Middle Park, and the bandwagon from O'Brien came into town, and they James, were looking to win it with an unbeaten horse, Great White Eagle, I think it's called. Yes,
White Eagle, yeah.
Great White Eagle. He's by Elusive Quality.
Yeah.
He's by Elusive Quality. They come into town 2 for 2, and I thought, well, they'll win the first one, but Kevin Ryan had other ideas. Should we watch the race?
Well, we're going to watch the two races together after we've chatted about them.
Okay.
So it was won by Astaire, who's trained by Kevin Ryan, as you said, and he ran 1-2 in the race. But Kevin Ryan's a very good trainer of 2-year-olds, a lot like Mick Shannon,
Yes.
Richard Hannon. Those guys are 2-year-old experts, and Kevin Ryan's another one of them. And he's a sharpie, this boy. He won the 2 races with the Gimcrack and this Middle Park with Amadeus Wolf a couple of years ago.
That's right, yeah.
And he's now won the Middle Park with Astaire, who's quite obscurely bred.
Intense focus, an American stallion.
It's
Out of a
quite
Dancili mare.
Yeah, he finds them. They find them quick. But then the other one, which is the Dubawi Dewhurst Stakes, which is normally one of the big pointers to the 2,000 guineas, the Irish bunch arrived in time.
They got this one right. And War Commando's favourite, he's by Warfront, who's a superb stallion.
Warfront's fee has just gone to $150,000.
And
It
rightly
was
so.
$80,000 last year.
Doubled.
Now $150,000.
He's a very, very good stallion. This is out of a Red Ransom mare, and War Command's a very good horse. Both these horses, when these features, have won 4 or 5. So they're top horses. With regard to the Derby, War Command has come into about 8 to 1.
Yeah, he would. He looks like he'd probably even be more of a Derby horse in.
He's coming to 8 to 1 for the Guineas. Apologies,
For the Guineas,
8 to 1 for the Guineas. They say there is a stamina doubt. I don't know, but he got the job done for O'Brien.
So is he the favourite for the Guineas at this stage?
I'm not sure, but I do know I saw that he had shortened in with most bookmakers to 8 to 1 for the Guineas.
Well, there's the Racing Post Trophy that's still
a
to
Group
come,
1,
and then you've got the French races, the Grand Criterium, those are the races which tell you what's going to be the big guns as far as the 2,000 guineas is concerned and the 1,000 guineas. But we're going to break away and watch these two races. And then straight after that, we're going to go into your call, where we've got this fabulous interview that Paul did with Michelle and Nerek. And from Paul and me, you have a great week's racing and enjoy what's still to come.
That's it. I think they're all set. And they're off and racing for Division A Middle Park Stakes. Great White Eagle given time from the stalls. A stare bounds to the rails with the white sheepskin noseband, Gelotta and Supplicant in red, white and blue. Suleiman towards the outside with Brown Sugar racing keenly, looking for a little bit of cover. Still in midfield is Great White Eagle in the blue and orange colours, just caught amongst horses with Green Door, who's very fierce under restraint and is making it hard for the rider. At the rear of the field is Speed Fiend, so Astaire unpestered on the lead, being tracked by Hot Streak on the rails with Gelotta, Justice Day behind those. Towards the outside, Supplicant in company with Suleiman, the keen Green Door. Great White Eagle still no closer than midfield. Brown Sugar towards the outside flank and Speed Fiend at the rear. Astaire continuing to lead as they race down inside the final two, pursued by Hot Streak, who's now beginning to try and launch a challenge. Astaire found a little bit when ridden and has got a little bit of momentum down into the dip. They lead by a length. Hot Streak, then Justice Day. Several struggling to get on terms, notably Great White Eagle. Astaire is now joined by Hot Streak on the run uphill for home. Justice Day running a mighty race, then Suleiman. Astaire is tough and Hot Streak struggling to get by. Astaire by a neck from Hot Streak onto the run to the line, and Astaire will win the middle part for Neil Cannon. Can he ride as well? Hot Streak, Justice Day, Speed Fiends run a blinder in fourth, Suleiman next and Supplicant sixth. Dubai Dewhurst Stakes field will be completed by Stormadale. Into stall number 2 for Neil Callan, looking for this big race double. And they're off and racing for the Dubai Dewhurst Stakes. In the early stages, amongst those at Sharpwell, Cable Bay, the white face of Friendship towards the centre, and Stormadale is also investing a little bit to get to the front. War Command drops in midfield. The grey Outstrip is at the rear early on in company with Anjal. So out in front, Friendship matching strides with Stormadale, two of the outsiders from Cable Bay, who disputes third place on the outside of War Command in the green and white check colours, whose rider Joseph O'Brien just moves off the rails to get some daylight. Anjal just shunted along at the back of the field on the outside of the grey Outstrip as they make their way down past the 4. Friendship out in front, still pestered by Stormadale, a reasonable pace. Cable Bay in third. Jamie Spencer just checks to see where the others are and just moves again off the rails to avoid getting balked if War Command improves on that horse's outer. So just about a diagonal formation across the course. Stormadale moving through to dispute it in earnest now with Friendship. Then behind these is Cable Bay. War Command is shaken up and Outstrip, and Anjal quite hard at work as well. They make their way down into the dip. Stormadale with Cable Bay. War Command is under pressure towards the outside, but is delivering a challenge. Then comes Outstrip, Cable Bay and War Command down with a furlong to go. Outstrip and Anjal trying hard to get there. War Command in front, but it is a sitting shot as up the rails. Cable Bay tries to rally. Anjal staying on stoutly. War Command is in command inside the last, however, and it's War Command, another Dewhurst for Aidan O'Brien. Joseph O'Brien wins. Cable Bay, another placed effort at top-class company in second. Tight third for Outstrip and Anjal, who never really got involved. They were clear of the other pair.
Right, we're talking to Michelle Narek about developments that have been happening with regard to Summerfeld, Greyville, and mainly what's happening with Gold Circle at the moment. Michelle, thanks very much for joining me, and interesting times.
Very interesting time, very, very exciting times, Paul. Work has started in earnest on the 1st of August. We're in for a big capital project of upgrading Summerfeld and Greyville. Summerfeld, right now, the civil engineers have completed the base for the poly track, and they've handed over to Poly on Monday. They've also finished all the bases for where the stables are going to be built, and their next progress plan will be the roads and the curbings and the horse walks to lead from the stables to the tracks. Stables construction in earnest will commence within the next 3 weeks. We are building about 500 new boxes there, and it's very exciting. At this stage, everything is on time. We've been blessed with the weather. From that point of view, you always provide for a bit of rain delay, but at this stage we're ahead of schedule.
Have you got any for October, any days planned for rain? We need them for the horses.
I know the horses and the tracks need the rain, but at this stage the weather is playing ball with the construction site. So.
Yeah, I've just had a look. The bricks have arrived. They've done all the drainage, it's flat. It's starting to really take shape, and it does look like they know what they're doing.
Absolutely. We've awarded all the contracts now, so every single piece of work that's going to be done to both Sommerfeld and Greyville has been tendered out, and the tenders have been allocated. So it's very exciting, and Greyville as well. It's actually moving very fast.
Well, let's stay with Sommerfeld for a moment. Now, I went down to Pens the other day and I saw the gradient and the lie of the land for this new poly track. Everything's in place for the poly track team, as you said. So they come in on Monday, you say?
We've handed over the base to them on Monday, and now they're going to do their engineering work that they need to do, and then from there they will then cover it with a product that you will train on. They have moved all their resources from Port Elizabeth when they finished the track there, and we have tarred 2,000 square meters for them at Greyville, where they're going to be mixing the product, and from there taking it to Sommerfeld. So the next step for them is the Sommerfeld training track, and when that's complete, then they will move on to the Greyville inside track.
And the feedbacks, initially when we put the poly track up in Gauteng, I spoke with the leading trainers, Joe Soma, Michael Lazzie, Mike de Kock, and they said apart from a few initial teething problems of getting used to track, it's a big success.
Yes, I think the poly came with a huge reputation. We had those friends from Newmarket, England, that came and recommended that we use poly. So we've gone with poly because the recommendation was there, and on top of this, as you said, it's being used around the country here, and Martin Collins and his team will now have a base in South Africa to look after us as well. So it made absolute sense to go that way.
All right, then let's talk about the main showplace, Greyville. People have been past there, people who play golf, they're having a look at it, and are we completely on song there?
Yes, I mean, major earthworks going on at Greyville. As you know, the project started last year when we did the underpass. That was the first main piece of work that needed to be done. We needed access to the inside of the track to be able to bring all the equipment to look after the poly track once it's been built. So that was done last year during the break, and of course I know a bit of heartache to John Stewart and his international team, because we lost quite a few race meetings at Greyville. But that was done last year, and this year we've now started from the 1st of August. The civil works is well underway. The building of the track itself, the widening of the total surface to take both tracks, the separation between the two tracks is nearly complete, and they're now attacking the base at the 1,000-meter mark. Alongside this, we've commissioned the extension of the lights. As you know, we only raced up to 1,600 on the lights, so whenever we had a longer distance, we had to have those races early in the night, when it was still early in the day, late in the day, early in the evening. Now we've extended the lights to the 2,400. So those light masts have been going up this week. In fact, this morning I saw they were right up to about the 2,000 meters. So they've got another 400 meters to go, and then they will be complete. New technology. That contract was awarded to Musco Lighting, and they've done a very good job so far. It's all been cabled. So the lights will be ready for the 25th when we resume night racing.
Is that going to be on Samsung? My next point, but the basic work will be on the poly track will be out of the way from the grass track. The grass track will be free to race, you feel?
Yeah, the grass track has had a summer treatment. The only changes to the grass track obviously has been the cutting on the inside where we're putting the poly, and then the installation of a totally new irrigation system. Now that is currently going on at the moment, and it should be finished within a week. The old irrigation system is still in place on the outside, so the water is getting to the track. But now we're putting irrigation on both sides to make sure that you've got an even spread of the water. So the track is fine. It's a question of putting the rails back on, and we will be able to race. The inside track, where the poly will rest, is the civils on this is well underway, but there will be patches of it which have not been completed by the 25th, but it won't affect the racing on the grass.
And now, has it affected the tightness of the track for both surfaces?
You know, Paul, I drive this track now once a week to see the progress, and I'm amazed how wide both those tracks are and how smooth the bend is. I don't believe gravel is such a tight track that...
Look at the rest of the world. It's not a dry track by any standard.
I suppose I'm coming from Mauritius. I come from one extreme of tightness to the other, but I'm not particularly worried. But obviously, the horsemen that have been there are saying, well, we're going to become draw biased at gravel. But the reality,
it won't change from what it used to be, I believe.
I don't think it will change anything from what it's been. We've extended the track on the outside on the grass, and obviously on the inside where the poly is going to be as well. Yes, the track will not be as wide as it used to be, but it's still a very wide track.
And now we'll have a break with golf and watch another race. People out there listening are going to be wondering and saying, well, this sounds good. 25th we start racing with the lights and what have you. When do we race Polytrack first, in your opinion?
Well, this is a call that Graham and his team will have to make. At this stage, our program says on the 1st of May, we have to be 100% use of poly. I believe that we will have partial use well before.
For practice gallops?
For practice gallops, even for a couple of races or two, like they're doing in PE. They're only having the first official meeting on the 19th of December, but they will have races in between. They've already had some trials and some practice gallops. We will have the advantage of obviously having the training track ready well before at Summerveld, so the horses will be able to get used to it, and we will have to make arrangements for the Ashburton horses to come and try it as well, because they're the only ones that will not be able to use they will not have a poly track at Ashburton.
Just touching on the last thing before we talk about Gold Circle itself, the relocation of people here at Clarewood up to Summerveld. When do you envisage that taking place?
Well, we are handing over the property on the 3rd of August is our last race meeting, and the official handing over to Capital. So the horses will be able to stay here until then.
Is there any chance of an extension on racing here?
At this stage, we've been speaking to Capital regularly. They've indicated that it's been a big investment for them. They need to sweat this asset as soon as possible. But they have also said if they fail to get all the necessary permits in time, they will talk to us. But we are renting it at the moment back from them at 5 million rand a year. And I would much prefer to have that 5 million to put into stakes ball than to spend it on rental if we don't need it. You know,
all right, let's move on to Gold Circle. How Gold Circle doing at the moment? What's the status?
We're trading very well. We've had last year we had a very good year, obviously helped by the amount of interest that we've earned on the capital that we've had in the bank. The beginning of this year, 2013-14 has been excellent. We've had 2 very good months of trading. We're trading ahead of budget and well ahead of last year, which bodes well for a stakes increase. My intention is to ask the board to vote an increase when we meet on the 21st, and I'm hoping that we will be able to come out with a nice announcement within the next few weeks.
So that's always positive, because that's what generates a lot of interest is your purse money and stakes. And you say they meet 21st of this month?
Of this month, 21st of October. Well, you'll be there.
Yeah. If they agree, how long does it take before you can kick on?
You know, I would imagine if they agree, we'll start it on the 1st of November.
Oh, so it's imminent?
Yes, well, I'm hoping so. We've had budgeted for a stakes increase in our budgets, and I'm just wanting to bring it a little bit forward because of the good trading conditions that we've encountered in the last 2 months.
A great, I think, innovation has been the TV screens, the huge screens. How's the feedback been?
Feedback has been fantastic. What we're doing there with those screens is that the smaller one of the two is now deemed to be a bit too close to the poly racing surface. It's on the edge of the ambulance road, so we'll have to move it back. We're going to do that in the next 2 or 3 months. It won't disrupt racing. We'll have the base built and then move it basically with a crane it won't be too much of a problem. The big one on the tote board, it's in place. For those of you that go to Greyville on the 25th, you will notice there's a darker section to that to where the screen area is, where the old tote board was. This is the section that's going to be cut off. We're going to be cutting that building to make space for the poly on the inside, and the screen will sit then exactly in the middle of where it is of the remaining building.
Any other developments that spring to mind with regard to Gold Circle for the public out there?
Yeah, well, basically we're looking at Greyville now as a venue, since we're going to be racing there double the times that we were before. We're looking at enhancing the venue, and Graham has embarked on a program of renovation, and I think his first target is the Palm Court, the members' dining room, which he's going to be renovating well in time for next year's winter season.
Big plans are afoot to make Greyville the destination of racing and like a Friday night venue. Is that still in plan, where you want to build restaurants and is it, how far down the road do you see it?
Very much so. I think Graham was telling me that he's already planning for the fixtures. You know, they work the fixtures virtually a year in advance, and 2015 we're gonna have virtually racing every Friday night at Greyville. So everybody will know that in Durban on a Friday night, that's the venue is Greyville, and with that will come all the necessary entertainment areas and restaurants and food courts that are needed to make it an exciting evening.
So it looks like it's all stations go at this stage.
All stations go. Greyville After Dark is the brand they're going to be using. It's actually quite nice, and no, things are looking up. It's very exciting times, you know, when you do those changes. It's very exciting. I spend, as I say, twice a week. I drive around and see the progress of Greyville, and Tony is virtually.
So has it affected the golf course in any way?
No, not at all. In fact, it's enhanced the golf course because they've asked us for all the cuts, the soil that we've cut out. They've used this on the golf course to create humps and bumps and extend tees and extend greens, and it's very exciting for them. And at the same time, we're redoing the whole drainage system, because as you know, the water that drains from the grass onto the poly, and the poly straight out, is quite in our summer months it's quite a large big amount of water, and so with that we're revamping the whole drainage system, which they will feed in, so they will have, in terms of big rains, water draining away quicker than it used to be before. So it's
everyone benefits.
And if everyone benefits, yes, yeah.
Michelle, thanks once again for coming in and updating the public.
Pleasure.